Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 737 for the 1st of March. Going to the strategic and tactical reporting, again, the Ukrainians have claimed another Sukhoi 34 that was shot down, this time around over eastern Ukraine. And this Sukhoi 34 was shot down, and they actually have some kind of a video footage or GIF showing something burning on the ground somewhere, somehow. I shared it on DPA Telegram channel. You may want to check it out over there. And I want to move the mic a bit further because the meter looks really loud. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you check it out on the DPA Telegram. Join the Telegram group. I also created a DPA WhatsApp group, so you may want to check it out. I will be posting more or less the same thing, so you can choose either one or both. Up to you. I personally don't use the WhatsApp channel that much. I just created it for you guys who actually prefers WhatsApp. So anyway, moving on to the Southern Front and also at the Kherson Front, based on Russian information, Ukrainian forces are still at Krinky Holes. So so that is not disputed right now. It's confirmed they are there. So anyone that said that Krinky was captured, anyway, the on the opposite side, Ivaniska got shelled by the Russian forces. This according to the Russian Defense Ministry. Over at Ingulets or Ingulets. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Over at Ingulets, the Russians fired a barrage of Uragan multiple launch rocket systems. And they basically hammered the entire settlement because they detected Ukrainian forces unloading and loading probably ammunition around this area here. So they just bombard almost the entire village randomly because it is a multiple launch rocket system, so it's always going to be random. So that's all from the Kherson Front. We move on to the Zaporizhzhia Front. So this is the Zaporizhzhia city, and this is Zaporizhzhia Front. At the Zaporizhzhia Front, the action is only over at the Orikhiv sector, with the Russian forces continue their actions around here. The Russians are reportedly fighting or conducting operations. Okay, I need to zoom out a bit. There's fire missions on the Malatomashka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So I just want to highlight this first so that I can zoom in a bit. And over at the Robotini-Verbovets region, the Ukrainian Orikhiv salient, the Russian forces are attacking over on the western part of Robotini. Fighting was reported at Robotini itself in the area of Novoprokopivka, as well as Verbove. So let me double check the information. Did I see wrong? Novoprokopivka, correct. So this is not very big assault. This is just a fighting being mentioned by Ryba and by the Russian Defense Ministry, and this is very unusual, especially the naming of Novoprokopivka, because this settlement is actually away from the front line, or at least the claimed front line. So fighting being mentioned around this area suggests that the Russians may have lost Robotini again. There's a possibility, or maybe they did not entrench within it. So the Ukrainians have taken it, causing the fighting to be in the southern part of Robotini, thus fighting in the area of Novoprokopivka. So that's all for the Orikhiv sector. And we move on from the Zaporizhzhia Front to the Donetsk Front. So this is Donetsk Front. At the Donetsk Front, there is fighting reported across the entire front line, with fighting reported at Staromayovsky, Novodonetsk, south of Zolotaneva, Voleda, Novomikhailivka, north of Novomikhailivka, Boyeda, Ukrainians counterattack at Boyeda, Georgievka and Krasnohorivka. Of note, the one at Voleda, as well as Staromayovsky, and I think Novodonetsk. These are all fire missions. These are not active assault. And then north of Zolotaneva, there was a Lancet strike being recorded to have attacked a Ukrainian tank north of Zolotaneva. So not very important in that sense. So these are just fire missions, so nothing to really worry about. Over at this Marinka sector, the Russian forces have taken the southern part, which shows that there is still active assault with showing of the flag in this area here. And I find this video footage come very belated, because this line is already claimed by the Russian side for a long time. So for it to be only re-established right now, yeah, feels a little bit sus. And over on the northern part, there was a Lancet attack on Ukrainian forces, confirming Ukrainian presence still in this area here. Essentially, the front line did not change. So in that sense, so we shall continue to monitor. I don't really like this situation where the Russian claims precedes evidence by so much. So it might be like a preemptive declaration of capture rather than actual capture. So this is not good. And so the Russians are also trying to attack from the north, but according to the information from the Russian side, it has not been successful. So this is the situation at Novo-Mikhailivka. We further up north, at the Boyeda region, the Russian forces are still trying to push out, but it doesn't seem very successful. Ukrainian forces counterattack and is in the southern outskirts of Boyeda again. So we will continue to monitor and see how this progress. So all these mention about captures are quite sad. If they declared victory and then after that the Ukrainians recapture, then it's kind of a embarrassment. Further up north, Georgievka, the Ukrainians, basically based on the frontline change report, has acknowledged the Russian presence in this area here, in the southern part of Georgievka, but that's about it. That is already claimed by the Russian side for some time, so we'll continue to monitor. The fighting at Krasnohorivka continues to be unknown. It's still pretty much in the fog of war. We do not know what is currently happening right there, despite the reports fighting at Krasnohorivka continues all the way non-stop from both sides. They are reporting this from the 27th of February, where the first sudden attack broke through. So we shall continue to monitor and see how these progress. We move on to the Avdiivka Front. So this is Avdiivka Front. At the Avdiivka Front, Russian forces continue their Avdiivka offensive, but the Ukrainians have launched massive counterattack across the entire front line. So Ukrainian forces attacking at Novobakhmutivka towards Stepove, at Bedaichi, Semenivka, Olivka, Tonenke, at Vodian, as well as Pervomaisky. Russian forces attack at Bedaichi, towards Semenivka, at Olivka, at Tonenke, at Pervomaisky, and Nevelsky. So if you look at this arrow system, you can see that there is a massive battle going on, and the Ukrainian forces seems to have successfully reinforced themselves. Like I mentioned, they need to hold the line. If not, it's going to get harder and harder for them because there is lesser entrenchment. So Ukrainian forces have basically reinforced greatly in this area here and managed to launch counterattack with armored vehicles, and there is artillery being deployed in the Novoselivka, Persia, and Novoprobsky line. And there is also geolocation confirming there was one hot visual of the Ukrainians getting destroyed, artillery gun, so confirming that the Ukrainians did indeed deploy artillery line around here to support their operations in this area here. Russian forces are not giving up yet, but there was a pretty disturbing footage coming out from the Russian side at Bedaichi. This footage show a Russian attack. A mechanized vehicle basically dropped infantry into Bedaichi, and then it left. But then it did not go far, and then it got destroyed. There's a dead soldier on the APC on this APC itself, and then after that, Bradley comes into the scene and wiped out the entire infantry squad that was entrenching themselves along the tree line. Basically, it's a turkey shoot because all these infantry do not actually have the appropriate anti-tank equipment to take out armored vehicles. So it's basically a tragedy. It's very hard to imagine, until this age we still, and this time of the conflict, that there is still commanders waiting to send troops out without fire support. Especially with the Russians having equipment superiority, this is unimaginable. But knowing Russia, the commanders will not get punished. That's what it is. And another image or video footage shows a lot of dead Russian soldiers. This time around, this is on the eastern part of Zaporizhzhia. They are all lying down next to a tank, and it's unclear what is the story behind it. Are they, clustering there and then got killed by some kind of maybe a HIMARS strike, a cluster munition strike, or could they be just dead soldiers being unloaded at that spot to be transported further away from the front line later? Is unclear. We do not know what is the circumstances. It is possible that these are just collected dead soldiers from the front because of the lack of equipment from this image, because it's a bit hard to tell if they are holding any rifles, and there's no such thing as a soldier without rifle so close to the front line. Basically, even their commanders carry rifles. So, we shall continue to monitor and see what this progress. Also, there is FPV drone attacks being reported on the eastern part of Avdiivka, showing the Russian forces indeed is in this area here. They are trying to take this position. The Russian forces are not progressing towards Semenivka just yet, as they are raining fire. As this area the Ukrainians seems to have very strong lines around here, the Russian forces cannot push through, so they are landing fire on the Ukrainian forces at Semenivka and trying to push through Badaichi, which was eliminated. So the situation here proved that the Russian claims of capture is entirely premature, and it basically invalidates them and their claim, which means that the Russian sources that is giving information to Ryba, that source that gave information to Ryba is jumping ahead. They are basically claiming before they actually really capture the ground. So that's why we need to cover information from both sides, which is why, as I mentioned, the next day after the mention of the capture, I already informed you guys that Deep State UA entirely rejected the concept that the three towns are captured. So this is very good. So this is continuing what we have always followed. So we are never duped in that way. So as I did mention, during those days, these are only claimed by the Russian side. It was not acknowledged by the Ukrainian side just yet. Because of this, situation that's unfolding, and clearly shows that the Russians have no firm control over the three settlements. This icon has turned into a question mark, because this original claim of capture 3 days ago is now invalidated for now. And what else can I talk about over here? I believe that's all for this area here in the Avdiivka Front. And we move on away from the Avdiivka Front. At the New York Front, the Russian forces reported Ukrainian attack at Bivdeni. So this is just a one-off thing, nothing really to talk about. Moving into the Bakhmut Front. At the Bakhmut Front, in the southern flank of the Bakhmut Front, the Russian forces continue to attack Klishchiivka, Avdiivka, and Kodyomivka. Geolocation of Ukrainian forces over in the southeastern part of Klishchiivka clearly shows the front line did not change a single bit. So all this attack is very positional in nature. That means they are just launching long-range strikes, artillery strikes. It's not exactly any kind of assault. The Russians don't seem to want to push through, and honestly, there is no need to. It really depends on what's your objective. Is your objective is like what the Russians say, demilitarization, which means destroying the enemy's military, then there's no need to capture ground. Capture ground can come later after you destroy the military. The Ukrainians have a totally different objective. Their aim is actually to hold ground. So they will defend all the grounds as much as they can. In the northern flank, Russian forces reported to be attacking Bodanivka and Ivanytsky. And Bodanivka is a bit funny. Ryba reported there are claims that Bodanivka has been captured. I'm quite 100% sure it's going to be fake news, because if even the more confirmed news end up to be invalidated, then Bodanivka, definitely this rumor is nonsense. Over at the Ivanytsky region, as per mentioned in the Frontline Changes report, Ukrainian mapping confirmed the Russians have basically taken the entire eastern part and southeastern part of Ivanytsky with this massive push, taking confirmed, at least officially right now, from two mappings, from both the Russian and the Ukrainian mapping, confirming Russians have captured half of Ivanytsky. The northern part is not acknowledged by the Ukrainian side. This is only acknowledged by the Russian side about the Russians' attack in this north or capturing the parts of this northern part of Ivaniski. We'll continue to monitor what's the situation over this area here, and pretty close they are going to reach the center of the governor or government house. There's this radar over there, so we will continue to monitor and see how this goes for Ivaniski. And in this area, and in Kharkovivka, there was artillery shelling of Ukrainian forward operating base or command center allegedly, and that's all from the Bakhmut Front. Moving into the Siversk Front, at the Siversk Front, the Russian forces continue to attack at Bilohorivka as well as an attack at Rozdolivka. So the Rozdolivka is reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry, and there is also footage coming out from Bilohorivka showing the Russians are bombarding Ukrainian positions. That's all from the Siversk Front. Based on history, based on the information that we have been covering, usually nothing much to expect from this front line. And moving into the Kreminna Front, this is Kreminna. The situation continues to be the same, with fighting remaining around the Terny region. There is fighting reported at Terny, with Ukrainian forces counterattacking. And one of these counterattack actually was captured on film, where the Ukrainian, I believe it's a Bradley fighting vehicle, or it could be some other armored vehicles, firing on Russian position. So actually, if you zoom in a bit more, the Ukrainian armored vehicle go along the tree line, fired at Russian positions around here. So this actually confirms that the Russians are here, but it also confirms that this is actually a gray zone, which is why the Ukrainians' claims is not wrong. So we will continue to monitor this gray zone and see how this progresses. The fact that the Russians are just holding position and allow armored vehicle to do a hit and run that shows limitation on the Russian side in their capability to take out the Ukrainian forces capability to fight. And so moving on, there's nothing over the Sviatove Front. We move into the Kupyansk Front. This is the Kupyansk city and the Kupyansk Front. At the Kupyansk Front, the Ukrainian forces counterattack at Terbaivka, seemingly capturing half of Terbaivka. Russian forces are attacking at Sinkivka, according to the Ukrainians, but the Russians claim a massive Ukrainian attack over at the Sinkivka train station, at the Liman Lake, and as well as Sinkivka. So this attack over the north seems to be quite serious, given how the Russians are mentioning 3 different locations in a small little area. So that's very interesting. So anyway, this is the situation at the Kupyansk, and that's all, I believe. Yeah, that's all. So this is the summary for the day of 737 for the 1st of March. So anyway, thank you for watching. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.